Hello again everybody and welcome back to another episode of Coding with Kenny G. We're now at episode 26. I actually had to re-record this episode because it was kind of difficult to explain stuff here. So my brain got a little bit jumbly, and I thought it would be better to re-record it to make this a little bit more better explained for you guys. So in this episode we're gonna do two things first. So previously there was a bug that allowed our actors to land on the middle tile. Let's see here, was this it? Yeah. So the thing was that the normal actors, they're not allowed to land on the center tile. They're allowed to pass through, so land anywhere here, but they're not allowed to land on the center tile, while the king is allowed to land on the center tile. So that's just a movement rule that is real quick to fix. And I can show you what I did because I already done it. Since I had to re-record, the code is fairly written here, but I'm going to show you where it was. So in our actor selector, that is where we handle the input. When we click an actor and display this movement path they're allowed to walk in, then you have the function on tile selected, and inside of there at the top here we are checking for click on a tile that is present in a move path. So this is after we have clicked an actor, and we are now supposed to be able to click on a tile in a move path. I just need to add one little snippet of code here. So inside if current move path.count is greater than 0, we do a for each loop on the current move path, which is the legal move path we're displaying. If we have clicked a tile inside of that move path, so one of those tiles, which is the parameter t here, we get the actor that we want to move, which is in our currently selected tile, which is the starting tile, the tile that the actor that we're trying to move is currently on. Okay, so we get the occupying actor of that tile, and here I added a quick little if statement which is going to handle this entire movement mechanic. So I wrote a little comment here: if the actor we're trying to move is not the king and the click tile in the move path is center tile, then return. So the only thing that we need to do here inside an if statement is to write if actor to move, so the actor we're trying to move, dot get actor type is not equal to actor type dot king. So that would mean either an attacker or a defender. So it's not equal to actor type dot king, and the tile we are clicking inside the move path is center tile, so equals board.instance.get center tile, which is a little helper function that we created inside the board class earlier. So if that if statement is true, then the only thing we do, I write the debug.log, this actor is not allowed to move to the center tile. We might display this to the player later, maybe in a UI message, something like that. For now, we just return out of this function. And our entire functionality will still work, as I will show you when I press play in Unity here. I try to click on the center tile. I get a debug statement here. This actor is not allowed to move to the center tile, but I'm still allowed to click on another tile, which is the intent here. Now it's the defender's turn, and we can check if our king is allowed to move to the center tile, which is what he's supposed to do. And he can. So our movement functionality is working. And our attackers are not allowed to move to the center tile, which is correct. We can just check real quick if our king is allowed to move to the center tile, corner tile, and he is. Good. So our movement mechanics are now working. So this was the other difficult part. So there is a game mechanic in Hnefatafl that says that normal actors can be captured next to a corner tile or an empty center tile. Whoa. So this is a little bit of code to make this happen. Let normal actors, I can say write parentheses, not the king, be captured next to a corner tile or an empty center tile. The king cannot be captured next to a corner tile in these game rules of Copenhagen Hnefatafl, okay? Specific rule set for Hnefatafl that we're following here. So there are two variations of the game rules in Hnefatafl. You have something called an armored king and an unarmored king. In Copenhagen Hnefatafl, the king is armored, which means that it must be captured specifically by 4 threats around him, which is quite difficult to achieve. And the unarmored king can be captured like any other actor, actually. Then he can be captured next to the corner tile, or he can be captured just by being sandwiched, just like we've shown you so far in the normal combat capture mechanics. But we are implementing the armored king rule. We can look at it later to implement the non-armored king. Anyway, we're gonna let normal actors be captured next to a corner tile or an empty center tile, and the king should not be captured next to a corner tile or center tile. We're gonna implement the king capture as its own check, because it is a special game mechanic, especially when it's armored. This is inside capture checker, and this was something that was a little bit difficult to explain. So I wrote a little bit of code to do this already, but I'm gonna walk you through it. So this is the private static function which returns an actor. It's called get captured actor in direction. So at first we check the first neighbor in cardinal direction. This could also be called the attacked tile, the tile that we are attacking. But first neighbor in cardinal direction. First of all, we check if that guy is not null, which means is this guy within bounds. And if it is occupied, then this means that we have something to attack. So here we check if the neighbor in this first neighbor in cardinal direction is an opponent to the moving actor. Then we move further. Then we say a new variable tile neighbor to attack tile in cardinal direction, so the neighbor to attack tile. We get that one. We check if it's not null. And then before it only said this statement: if neighbor to attack tile in cardinal direction dot get is tile occupied. So if it is occupied, or if the neighbor to attack tile in cardinal direction is a corner tile. The way that I check this is I created a new function, a helper function inside this board helper class, where I just return a bool, get is tile a corner tile, and we check if that index is any of the 4 corners. I think we have done this code before, but I rewrote it here for this function. So we go from lower left, which is the tile index of x0 and y0, right? And then we just go upper left, upper right, and lower right. You can just have a little look-see at this code and copy it and return true if that is so. If it's not, then we return false. And also I created a quick function for checking if a tile is a center tile. And then we just return true if that board is the center tile. We check it by checking if the position we're checking is equal to board.getLength divided by 2, both at dimension 0 and 1. Okay. Okay, so back to capture checker. We check here if the neighbor to attack tile in cardinal direction, that tile is occupied or that tile is a corner tile. If it is one of those 2 statements, then we continue. And here I'm going to have a break condition. First of all, I can write this as comment. Is the neighbor of the attacked tile occupying actor a king, or rather the king, and the neighbor, or rather oh man, that's why this was a little bit difficult to explain. Okay, it's the first neighbor it's the first neighbor, parentheses, the tile we're attacking, occupied by the king, and the neighbor of the attacked tile, a corner tile. So sorry, this is why I had to re-record this episode, because it is easy to get a little bit jumbled when you speak about these little bit tricky game mechanics. So here we check if the first neighbor, the attack tile, is that tile occupied by the king, and the neighbor of the attack tile, is that a corner tile? If that is so, then we return null. We just want to get out of this statement. This is to be explicit. We could probably make a tricky if statement here to just implicitly return null if we don't meet a condition that results in somebody being captured. But this is to be explicit, so I hope that it's a little bit easier to understand. So further, we just get out of this function if the attack tile contains the king. I think that we should actually rename this. The first neighbor in cardinal direction. I think I'm gonna rename this to the attacked tile. the attack tile, I think this makes sense. And probably a little bit easier to speak about. Okay, we go to the next if statement here. So if the attack tile dot get occupying actor dot get actor type is not equal to actor type dot king, so if it is either a normal defender or a normal attacker, and board helper dot get is tile a corner tile, and then we send in the neighbor to the attack tile, then if that is true, then we return the attack tile's occupying actor. I think it helps to write a comment here, so that if you write along here and you try to understand the code that we're writing, it helps to write these comments above somewhat tricky if statements. So is the attack tile's occupying actor not the king, meaning a normal defender or attacker, and the neighbor to attacked tile is a corner tile, then the guy that we are attacking is supposed to be captured. And down here I specifically write return the attack tile dot get occupying actor here, and I should be doing the same down here actually. So I'm gonna instead say return the attack tile dot get occupying actor. We could do this inside some sort of composite if statement, but then it gets really hard to read. So I think that we just keep this if statement as its own if statement. If the neighbor to the attacked tile occupying actor is an ally, same faction of the moving actor. Yeah. Okay, we can at least try to test this script and see if stuff is working. And this is where you want to have another formation to test this in. So we're just going to do that. Go back to formation creator. I'm going to place one king down at the lower right corner, so we're going to check to see if he can be captured. So I'm going to place an attacker on this line, because he's going to try to attack here and he's going to try to attack here. Then we're going to place a defender next to a corner tile. And just to have done it, because we're going to need it, I'm going to place a defender next to the center tile, and I'm going to place an attacker ready to attack this position. Then I'm going to save this formation as special attack rules underscore test 01. Cool. Now we have that formation ready to go. Go back to testing scene and go to the board where we assign the formation to spawn as the special attack rules test. Alright. And then we're gonna test some game mechanics here. So first of all, the king should not be captured, which is correct. Good. The king was not captured next to a corner tile. Now, I'm gonna try to move this attacker up to beside this defender here and see if he gets captured. He should be captured. Yes, good. So he is captured, which means that our function is working. Good. This is one of those a little bit more tricky episodes. I hope that you managed to follow along here. Just gonna check my time. Yeah, 20 minutes. I think that's it for this episode. And I do hope that, as I said, this is where it gets a little bit more tricky. And also for me, I need to focus a little bit when writing this code, because it's easy to get a little bit misled when you're trying to just do this kind of on the fly. But thank you for watching so far, and I hope that you are learning something, and I hope that it helps to see that like some of these more tricky mechanics being implemented, so you see how this stuff is actually being done. So thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.